Well, on display another one of these Bud K knife specials. This one actually I think is a very good quality knife for the money, beyond what I've got before. This was put out by M48 Tactical Commando. It's what it's called. United Cutlery. So, you know, they exported all their stuff to China. Bad to the bone, right? But let me show you how it compares with the K-Bar. But first, I want to go over what type of steel is in it. Now, this is one of the major issues with a lot of the cheaper knives. Now, the price on this is $19.99, okay? You can get free shipping when you order enough, and it was on sale. So it's AUS-8 AA is better than 440B. 440B is actually a pretty good medium quality stainless steel. AUS-8 is actually known as a medium quality knife blade steel, stainless, that's in the medium high range, the higher end of the medium steels. So it's better than everyday use. It's got a carbon content of about 0.75%. It's extremely hard, rust resistant. It holds an edge very well. It's not the best steel in the world, but it's definitely above average. And I'm not talking above average of just the everyday knives. It's above average of knives sold. Most steels aren't quite as good. Composition, again, 0.75% carbon, chromium 1.5%. It will, you know, it could tarnish a little bit, but it's actually coated too. That's beyond that. So it's magnesium, molybdenum, nickel, silicone, vanadium. Vanadium actually is something very expensive. You'll find that in the real K-bars. It's 1095 stainless steel, well, semi-stainless. It's carbon steel, 1095 carbon steel, Crovan. That's a real K-bar. So 1095, 95 means 0.95% carbon, but still, this with the more chromium and the molybdenum, it is a. I guess you would say it's a tool steel. I'm not sure if you really call it a tool steel, but this is the sheath it comes in. Now, I want to say, you notice I put these little ties on here. I'm going to show you what I did to the sheath to modify it, and also I'm going to compare it to the K-Bar, the real K-Bar and the K-Bar knockoff. Just to say up front, if you're going to get a knife from Bud K, a cheaper knife, this for $19.99 is probably your best deal. Most practical size. And even though this K-Bar knockoff from Bud K is $10, you're better off with this for $20. Much better steel. Okay, so it's got this, you know, thing where you can hold on to the knife instead of a snap. It's more secure. But I also, if you look, I drilled a little hole right there. So like when you slide that, you slip it through there. This side, you slip it through. You can put a tie in there or a piece of copper wire or something to make sure this can't pull out and unhook the buckle. I'm definitely going to do that for the belt loop because I would not want to lose this knife. You know, I mean, it's not going to come apart normally. But say you're going through woods. Now, I know I don't do that anymore. I'm not in the military anymore. But you know, normally something can catch on something. Say, pull this out, right? Pull that out. Then you can't pull it out with this. Say you had this tie in there. I made a yellow one, right? I drilled a hole, a little tiny hole right there. So you can't pull this out. But say, for instance, you're going through, you know, if you're busting brush in the woods, it gets pretty hairy sometimes, man. So if something catches this, boom, and all of a sudden, wham. You lose your knife. I don't think that's a major. So it's a slight little modification. I don't know if that hole's even an 1/8 inch big. Maybe it's just under an 1/8 inch. 3/32. I also took the knife out of here, and I measured about where the thing sits in there, like that. And I put a little hole down here in the bottom, same size hole. Actually, it sits like that, I think. Yeah, like that. Like that. Just like that. So you see where that hole is? Now, of course, I took the knife out when I drilled that hole. That's a drain hole. Because this is a plastic sheath, and I don't want, even though it's stainless steel, I don't want anything water getting in there, even though it sits in there nice and tight. It snaps shut. It's got places where you can secure this to your pack or something, right? It's got a lanyard hole on the bottom for on the sheath itself for your leg. It's got the belt loop, and like I said, really, this belt loop would be extremely secure. And I tell you the truth, I like the nylon better than the leather. I know the leather looks prettier, but the nylon's more practical. But if you put one of these through here, or even like a copper wire, when you put that tab through, it's not going to come loose. I would even do that on the knife itself, but more important on the belt loop. You see how I think? That's how I always think. This steel is pretty good stuff, man. It's not like the best steel in the freaking world, but it's definitely way above average, okay? And this sawtooth blade, I didn't try it out yet. It's a thick sawtooth blade. It looks pretty sharp. It looks like you can get right in there, no problem. This one you would have to sharpen with those little round files. Couldn't put it through like a pull-through thing. Yeah, it's not sharp on this side, but the blade is actually fairly sharp right out of the freaking box. It's got a nice handle. It's full tang. You can see it's it's full tang, but it's hidden. It's ABS plastic. It's inside here. It goes all the way through. It doesn't go halfway through. It's bolted down there on the top. It's got the lanyard on the knife and the lanyard on the sheath. To me, that's outstanding. Now, I don't have the real K-bar sheath out here. It's in a safe, but the real K-bar sheath, this is a real K-bar, right? Compare it. So, real K-bar is made in USA, okay? It's 1095 Chrome Mag. Compare it to the two of them. Let me put it to you this way. You're getting a hell of a lot of knife. See, now these are equal down here. It's a little longer. It's a little wider that way. It's got a little more curvature. It's got the serrated edge on the top. It's a little thicker than a K-bar. Okay, the real K-bar. Okay. I know real K-bars are great. I think this real K-bar would outlast this one because 1095 Chrome steel is better than AUS-8. But this is more rust resistant, and this is definitely not crappy stainless steel. I know there's better out there, but it's definitely well above average. Well above average of just knives in general, not just everyday knives. Now this is a Bud K Special that's a knockoff of the K-bar, which you could see is very close, right? I mean, it's identical basically. You know, it's practically identical. You could tell, though, this knife is a lot lighter than a real K-bar. This is $10. This is a good deal. It's 420A. 420A stainless steel does not even remotely compare to AUS-8. Not even close. This is a good steel. It's not, I'm not saying it's the best in the freaking world. I know for the knife connoisseurs, they'll say, oh, it's better than that. It's definitely way better than anybody would ever really need. This knife would work in a survival situation, quote unquote. I would trust this knife not to fall apart. I mean, it's not, but for $20, it's a ridiculous value. That's my point. You don't have to worry about, it's pretty much impervious to the elements. It's got the handle's impervious to the elements. The sheath is impervious to the elements. You could tie the sheath off all types of different ways. I know they had a hole here for like basically draining the water, but I always figured the water would get in here, then fill in where the tip was, and this doesn't drain right here. It's just for the lanyard. So I put that tiny little hole in there, right where the tip would be, to let the water drain. Not a big hole. But this knife is beyond a freaking great value for $19.99. I think this is their best value on Bud K, bar none. I know I like the Timber Rattler Western Outlaw. It's kind of cool. It's such a beefy blade that I know, even though it's not the best stainless steel in the world, it's probably going to hold up all right. But this thing would probably hold up to a hell of a lot of abuse. I like the serrated edges on the top. I know people don't like these sometimes because if you're batoning with the weapon, it's not that great. I like how the bigger Bowie K-bar has serrated edge only part of the way because you can baton with it. And the other thing is, these things have a disadvantage of if you're smacking it on this side, which you could still baton with it. I mean, I guess, you could. But you could start stress risers down this way. But don't hit it with steel. Hit it with wood, and you're not going to have that problem, I don't think. I doubt it. Not with that steel. This steel is pretty good stuff. That's a very, very good deal in a knife, in a serious knife. And this is like a nice size. It's still got where you could choke up on it, where the finger is. You can see this is at a different angle. It's got a nice hand guard on it. I know it's ABS plastic. ABS plastic is better than ABS plastic, but it's, the knife, the tang is going all the way through. It's not like it's just ABS plastic and the tang is up to here. No, it's all the way through. It's not cheap stuff, man. You're not going to really break this knife too easy at all. And considering, I don't even know if I don't want to torture test these knives, but okay, the K-bar is the real K-bar has got better steel. But considering that this 1999 M48, that's the brand name. It's from United Cutlery. It's made in China, okay? I know it's made in China. It's thicker. I'd imagine it probably would hold up just as well as the K-bar under all kinds of stress tests. Like if you're bending it laterally, it's a good steel that can really. It's a lot of toughness. A little more difficult to sharpen. And the rule of the thumb is the harder it sharpens, the longer it holds its edge. Usually. So if you're sharpening a really cheap steel, it might sharpen up quicker, but you won't have to. You'll have to sharpen it more. But this one, you won't have to sharpen as much. This thing, I'd say the K-bar would have better edge retention than this, but this is definitely not crap. This is definitely good stuff, and that is why I bought it. Okay, some of these knives, I don't really like. I don't know what it is. I just don't like taking out my USMC K-bar with my name scribed in it, which you can see it's taped over with the emblem, out and doing stuff with it. I just don't want to screw it up. I wouldn't screw it up anyway. I wouldn't screw up this one, but I'm not afraid of getting this one getting wet, or if it got immersed in water. I know I wouldn't be afraid of that with this, but somehow I don't want to do that. This one, I think of it as a kitchen utensil. But significant weight difference between the fake K-bar and the X48 United Cutlery fighting knife, commando knife, whatever you want to call it. And it's about the same weight as the K-bar. This has a little more weight on the end. You could probably, and I tell you the truth, I like these when he has this like this, because you can grab it further down, and then if you're doing this, you could be wham, wham, you could be flicking the wrist and chopping some wood maybe an inch thick, maybe 2 inches if you're pushing it. I know you can go more than that, but the saw thing, I love those things, to tell you the truth. I really think they're useful. They're also useful when you're stripping wires. You got to get the rubber, the insulation off the wires. You put it in there, and this saw thing, it's a very aggressive saw pattern. It's sharp too. I tell you that right now. It is sharp. It's sharp. It's sharp. You'd have to fix that with a file. You touch it up. But it's stainless, which means highly resistant to rust. Since this has a little more carbon than a lot of other stainless, like this is better than 440A, it's better than AUS-6. AUS-6 isn't even that bad, man. It's not a bad steel. Depends on what the hell so people freaking, it's all what you're getting a hell of a lot of knife for this freaking money. $19.99. But being coated like that, it's not going to rust because it's stainless and it's coated. So to me, this is actually for $19.99 with this type of sheath, which snap fits. It's got the hole in the lanyard. Now, actually, the real K-bar does have the hole on the bottom for the lanyard, but this has the hole. This is the knockoff, right? That's the knockoff. This M48 Tactical Commando knife from United Cutlery, okay, with AUS-8 steel, serrated edge, 7-inch stainless steel serrated sawtooth blade on the back, 12 inches overall, checkered ABS grip. It's got, with this sheath, I like this a lot. You might not like the appearance of, a plastic and webbing sheath versus leather, but it's much more durable in the elements. You could tie it off to your pack different ways. You got the lanyard. It's more secure, especially if, like you said, you do these little tabs, you put a little 1/8 inch hole in there. I'm definitely going to have that on the web belt because I don't want that coming off the web belt. I don't think it'll come, you know, this, if it unsnapped, it's not going to pull out of the sheath because it snaps in there. If you put this in here, it kind of like locks in place, you know. Not locks, but it's, you know, it's in there better than a leather sheath. And you're not going to poke through a hole through this thing either. You know, that's another thing. So I know it's $20, and so $19.99. This is $9.99 when it's on super sale. You know, you're better off getting that by far. Much better steel, heavier blade, serrated edge, and you know the big marketing thing with the $9.99 knockoff of the K-bar is that, you know, it's USMC, but it's a knockoff. It's a knockoff. You're actually getting a hell of a lot more knife with this puppy. So I think that's, to me, looking around at specifications, you know, I'm very careful like what I choose and pick. Value for the money. I don't know, maybe I'm going off on too much of an extreme claim here, but Bud K, I think, has got some of the best deals on knives going. They don't have all cheap knives. They got good knives, medium quality knives. They got various qualities, right? This, I think, is the most bang for the buck and the most useful size for most people. This one right here. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's got the serrated edge. It's really weatherproof. It's got the lanyard on the sheath, the lanyard on the knife. It's got very, very good steel. Not the best in the world, but definitely very close to the high range steel. It's better than the average medium range steel. It's better than that. So it's better than, not as good as 440C, which would be around AUS-10, but it's better. It's typically better than 440B, which is pretty good stuff. Most stuff you say 440 steel is 440A. This is just, this one, a Chinese knockoff for the K-bar, is 420A. This real K-bar would hold up a lot. This is 1095 chromium vanadium with, it's got some nickel in it too. I think it's got some other trace elements too. But this, where you have this blend of all these materials in this steel, it makes for a very good steel. It's not, I don't want to overemphasize it like it's the best in the world, but then I don't want to underestimate it. This would definitely be better than an everyday knife. And somebody needs a survival knife that's not going to spend a lot of money. You got the real deal here, man. This is not junk. This is good stuff. That's good stuff. A hell of a lot of knife for $19.99. Can't say enough about it. So I just want to pass that information out. Some of these things you might want to invest in because this product will be around here 20 years from now, whereas, you know, the latest technological gadget you got for, you know, umpteen times more money than this knife is going to be a piece of junk inside of 12 to 18 months. So you see where I'm coming from. So I'm going to probably have other videos on, you know, using these things out there right now, but, you know, it's gotten dark, so we're going to go do that later on. It's only so much time in the day, but I want to give you a lot of the features and also how I'm definitely put that tiny little hole in there. So when you slip this through the slot, right, you can put your tie or a wire through that. So this can't hit a branch or something or twig. Can't pull this out, and this pops off and you lose it on your belt. You don't want that. Not as critical as where it's being held, the knife is being held itself. But where the sheath is being held to the belt, you definitely want that on there. Fail safe. Okay, so that's it. And also the drain hole, I think, is a smart idea. And if you drill that hole down there, make sure you get it right where the tip of the blade is, and make sure the knife isn't in there so you don't drill a hole in the knife. Don't do something stupid. But that's my modifications. And I like this because I'm not afraid to, you know, get it wet and, you know, other things you're afraid of getting. You got to oil them, and you got to, you know, that kind of crap. You know, it's not leather. It's not going to screw up. It's not going to fill up with water. Damn good knife, man. Damn good knife. Very, very, very happy with this purchase. So, I think it's, my opinion, I don't know if there's better deals, but to me, if it's not the best deal on Bud K, it's definitely near the top. Definitely, and they got some damn good deals.